Well, good evening. The Who's today, it was Melbourne Cup Day in Melbourne, naturally. The Who's in Sydney, we had two meetings, a picnic meeting at Randwick. I don't know what the story was there. I was at Rosehill, where we had the meeting go ahead there. And the crowd at Rosehill, well, there were quite a few people there, but it was the Melbourne Cup crowd, a lot of sightseers, wasn't a lot of cash about, and it was a fairly tough school and a mixed bag. It all depended how you handle it during the day. We got a couple of good results, a couple of very bad results, and as I say, it all depends how you handle it. The first race was hard to handle. So first of all, the track was good at Rosehill. The rail was 8 metres out, and the wind was a southeasterly, light to start off with, and towards the end of the day the wind had picked up a bit and it was a northeasterly, and it picked up by about 15 kilometres an hour, to be around about only 20, but it wasn't enough to cause any difference to the results. As I say, the first race, the favourite and the second favourite ran first and second. Al Dragon, very well backed, went up 5 to 4, 2.25, got out to 13 to 8, $2.60, and came back into $2.30, hard to get at the death. And the second pick, Bradman, well, it went up about $3.29 to 4, got out to $4, back into $3.50, and Bradman sat handy in second position, got to the lead after turning for home, and but the favourite, who had settled down in second last position, Al Dragon, and he having its second start in the race after winning at Newcastle, making it 2 out of 2, it was able to wear the second pick down on the line and beat it by 0.2 of a length, and it was a good margin away to the top weight, Red Excitement, 3.5 lengths away. In the marketplace, we bet 100 and well, in the marketplace there was only 103, whereas in the on the screen there was 112.2, a lot less in the marketplace. Second race, on the screen there was 104.8, but only 98% in the ring, and this race was won by the opening favourite, Possesco, and didn't start favourite Possesco. Number 1 started favourite Black Scar, a stablemate to the winner. They ran first and second. Black Scar opened up $4, got out to $4.20, and it started about $3.60 favourite, whereas Possesco, it was extremely hard to lay. It went from about $3.20, I was $4 when they jumped, and there wasn't a taker in sight. You couldn't lay $3 to 1. Now I'm going a bit bananas here, because they started second favourite and third favourite, and starting favourite down the bottom was Seize the Fire, of course. It was extremely well backed. It went up $3 favourite, got out to $3.50, but came back into it's been a long day. It came back into $3 favourite, had its chance. It sat in a handy position in about 4th hole, loomed up on the turn 3 wide, looked like it was going to go on with the job, but it couldn't. It hung in under pressure, and the winner, which led Possesco, it raced away and won by nearly 2.5 lengths. It was by far the best run, and they all more or less had their chance, except a long price runner, Fort Sam Houston, who got trapped 3 wide. Race 3, there was 101.5 on the screen, so obviously it's going to be less than 100 in the marketplace, only 98% given in the marketplace. And this race was won by Balzac. It was a very good result for the captains. It went up $14. It was always rounded firm in the market and got out to $17 towards the end of betting, and it went straight to the lead. It looked like the track was playing a little bit towards leaders after the first few races, and it went straight to the lead, as I say, and it was able to hold off Able Friend having its first start in the race, who came from midfield on the fence. Missed the kick slightly, Able Friend, and after angling off heels, it only went down by 0.3 of a length. And after sitting in a handy position, Reunite, another first starter who sat in fourth hole, it was only beaten a half a length running third. And well, there were some runners in this race that went hard to lay, especially number one, a stablemate no, the stablemate was scratched. Oh no, there was Pinzan, Pinanza was a stablemate. It was extremely well backed, Pinanza, but the homage went from about $5.50 out to $8.50, whereas Pinanza, it was backed at one stage from $26 or $21 into $17, and down near the bottom, the starting favourite and sitting outside the lead but failing to run on in the straight was Subtitle, who was extremely well backed and only went up $3, got out to $3.50, but only started $2.80. There was an absolute poultice put on it, and as I say, it sat outside the lead, and when the pressure was applied after turning, it couldn't go on, and it dropped out and got beat about 5.2 lengths, having every possible chance. Well, the winner led, as I say, and held on, run the race again. Maybe the second and third horses, especially the second horse, would go close to winning after settling a bit back in the field, but more or less having its chance. Race 4, there was only 101.3 on the screen. In the marketplace, a lot less, 96% losing figures again here. And this was a result for the captains sitting outside the lead. They ran first and second, the leaders. Rastro was taken straight to the lead, ridden by Jay Collette, coming across from an outside alley, and found the fence, and coming and sitting outside outside the lead was the winner, Pretty Gully, trained by Moody, ridden by jovial Josh Parr, who had a couple of starts down in Melbourne. Today was second up, and when they turned for home, they were able to get clear, and it went on 1 by 2 lengths. Pretty Gully. It went up about 12 to 1 chance, $13, and it was $18 or $17 on my board at least when they jumped. It was extremely hard to lay, and it fluctuated in the betting. Rastro, who held on for the second position, went up about $4, got out to $4.60, back into $4.20, back to $4.40, fluctuating around that price, but got out to $4.60 at the death. One of the best back runners in the race was it was Paint the Town, number 10. It sat in about 6th position, one off the fence, had its chance. It finished up running third, but beaten a long way, 4.3 lengths, and it opened up $7, and it only started $5.50, very hard to get. It's a bit of money at one stage for, well, it wasn't at one stage, it was firm in the market. Zolaro, number 8, it went up $9, got out to 10, but only started at $8 or even $7.50, hard to get at the death. The winner and the second horse, unless if there wasn't bias on the track, they were by far the best runs. But as I say, up near the lead could have been a bit of an advantage today. The distance race here over the 2,400 metres for the one pace pluggers, we saw the winner, the top weight Slivovitz, it had to carry the 59 kilos, but everything fell into place. Now they chopped and changed early on in the race. It was leading Victory at Sea. Well, first of all, Pleasurina was leading, and then Victory Sea went around and led, and then when the pace slackened up in front, Lehigh, it went around and took the lead, and the winner, it was always sort of midfieldish, and it's very one pace, but it knew it would run out the distance, and it moved up on the turn and got to near the lead, and once it did get to the lead, it forward on very strongly, holding off the favourite Dream Worker, who it just sat back smoking his pipe in the run all the way and made a long searching run before the turn, coming very wide, looking as if it would run down Slivovitz halfway up the straight, but he couldn't catch it and failed by 0.1 of a length. And running third was one of the early leaders, Victory at Sea. There were some very disappointing performances in the race. Slivovitz was extremely hard to lay. I had $8.50 on my board when they jumped. It went from $5 or even $4.60, or no, it went from $5. It opened up 4 to 1 and got out to $8.50. Dreamworker went up $3.50 favourite. It was $4.80 when they jumped. The next pair, well, there was money for not a pretty face and Nantucket Bay. A bet laid to both of them. Lehigh, extremely well backed. $8 given about Lehigh, only started $5. Rock This World, a bit hard to lay. $5 out to $7.50. Now the next runner, Pleasurina, extremely well backed. It gave as much as $10 Pleasurina. It started $5.50, hard to get. The next runner was 14s out to 20s. That was Ready My Fiend. And Victory at Sea was about $11 out to 13 or $14 even given, back into 12. And Speed Queen was $11 out to 13, back into 12, back out to 13. Now the figures in the race were hopeless. At top odds, well, on the screen there was 103.1, but in the marketplace, if you shopped around, you could get as little as 94%. The way the race was run, I suppose even though the first two got away with a bit of a break at the finish, those races they chopped and changed up in front, and it suited the first two place getters. Race 6. Now on the screen there was 106.3, and we got positive figures here, 104%. And this race was won by the opening favourite and starting favourite, Maydell. It was very easy in the betting at one stage. It went up only $3.20, 9 to 4, but it got to plenty of four. I saw $4.40 about Maydell, but at the finish they killed you for $4.40, $4.20, and they were even starting to take the $4. And it got a beautiful position in 5th position, just looking at 3 leaders, one of them being trapped 3 wide, and that was Shade of Green, and it had to drop out, which it did. It ran second last, beaten 7.3 lengths, and after they turned for home, leading on the fence was Caesar's Princess, who went fairly ordinary. On its outside was the outsider of the field, Daisy Can Do, and it got to the lead, got past those after they flattened out Maydell. And coming from last or second last on the outside was the top weight, Dream With Me, who was easy in the betting, but only failed by 0.4 of a length. And besides it being trapped 3 wide in the run, Shade of Green, first and second were most probably the best runs in the race. Dream With Me was extremely hard to lay. It went from $5 to 7. Baranski was about $11 out to 14 at the finish. Told you about the winner. And the next 2 runners, Shade of Green and Caesar's Princess, extremely easy in the betting. $4 out to $5 was Shade of Green, and Caesar's Princess from $4 out to $4.80. And Star of Helicon was always $7.50, and Daisy Can too was 17 out to 21. Race 7, well, there was 103.5 on the screen and only 96% in the marketplace, and this was a result for the captains. At one stage you could fill your bag at $2.80 about number 1, Deceiver. They killed you for $2.80. Opened up 6 to 4, $2.50, got out to $3. They killed you for the $3 and the $2.90 and the $2.80, as I say. Got a good bit of section out of the $2.80, and after that, at one stage, I got it out to $3.40. I did start $3.20 on my board, and it got in between runners, and the rider, Miss J. Duggan, she said she, even though it wasn't badly held up, she wasn't able to get good galloping room, and she couldn't really fully test it most of the way down the running. It finished up running 4th, beaten 1.6 lengths. Another runner that was very well backed in this race, also backed by the pros, was Inventive, and it opened up $5, got out to $5.50, but it was extremely well backed. Started clear second favourite, about $3.70, 80. They took the $5.50, the $5, $4.80, $4.60, and all the way down to $4 taken into about $3.80, as I say, hard to get. Whereas the winner, Princess Layla, who sat outside the lead and Inventive did lead in the race from barrier 1, and Princess Layla sat on its outside. It was resuming from a spell today, had trialled all right. It went from $5 out to $7.50, extremely hard to lay, and it was a result for the captains. And coming from last, making up a lot of ground, which was fairly hard to do today, was number 11, Epona Princess. It settled down, as I say, in last position and came hooking off heels, turning for home, and only the margins were 0.2 of a length, and only got beat 1 length. Was Epona Princess, making up plenty of ground, as I say. And all the others, well, it got trapped 3 wide in the run. Bonzarina, it was big odds. It was a 60 to 1 chance. But all of the others more or less had their chance. As I say, the favourite wasn't really fully extended. Race 8, there was 104 on the screen, but there was 10 less in the marketplace. There was only 94% given here, and well, these were the flux. Number 1 Glare, we gave $9. It was $9 into $8. Sailor's Farewell, it was hard to lay. Went from $3.50 out to $5.50, back into $4.80. Damo laid it for plenty at one stage at $9. It started $10 on my board. Alabama went from $14 out to $21. Diamond Gin went from $13 to $16. Old Bill, $6.50 out to $10, back into $8.50. Sweet Talking Woman, $8 out to $10, back into $8.50. Steel Pipe, 15 to 26. Shenlong, 15 to 26. And we get to the winner, Gregory's Aeroplane. Mr. Waller had he had 3 runners in the race. They were Damo, Old Bill, who got unfortunately trapped 3 wide in the run, and the winner, Gregory's Aeroplane, who had all of its starts in New Zealand and was having its first start for Mr. Waller. And today it was extremely well backed. Went up $6, got to $6.50, and it was into $3.70, $3.80 with a minute to go. Got back to $4 on a couple of boards, and it finished up getting the cash. Going straight to the lead was Glare from barrier 1. Sitting on its outside was Alabama. As originally sitting on its outside was the winner, Steel Pipe. It went around and sat on its outside, Alabama, and then it got into a cosy position to win a 1 out, 1 back. And unfortunately, getting trapped 3 wide was the stablemate Old Bill, and the other stablemate, which was Damo. It sat well back in the field, and it didn't make up much ground. They did announce that Damo was to be ridden quieter, and it was most certainly ridden quieter well back in the field, as I say, in about second last position. Sailor's Farewell, well, he drew an inside alley, and when he tried to get off the fence, he got off the fence very easily, Sean Garmer, but when they flattened out, he went for a run and got squeezed back into a pocket by Sweet Talking Woman, who was always on its outside, lost his momentum, and with a little bit of luck, it ran 5th, Sailor's Farewell. With a little bit of luck, maybe it might have got the cash. It raced up at one stage, looked like it was going to win with a half a furlong to go, or even a lot less. Diamond Jim, but couldn't go on, and coming from back in the field was Sweet Talking Woman, and it looked like it was going to maybe grab them with about 50 or 75 metres to go, but it couldn't go on. And the one that was poleaxed in the betting ring by the pros, they won an absolute bucketful of it. It was able to stick its noggin out right on the line and get the cash. Margins were 0.2 by 0.3. We came to the last race, And on the screen it said 108.6, but in the marketplace there was only 96%. 96%. Moonstones 40 to 1. Mossamine 26. Senator Moore $8. Admiral's Cup 61. Court Connection $21. Didn't have a price. 13 out of 21. Morocco was $9. Ridotto did lay 5,300 late, $17. Was started 15 to 16. Rosewall 7 to 2 taken. Did start $4 hard to get, or about $3.80. Next one was $80 to 1. Shade of Better in excess, went up second favourite, or even though it went up favourite at about $4, $4.20, got to $5.50 in excess. It's had 3 starts second up and won every time. Now it's 4 up, 4 starts second up and won its 4th race second up again. So 4 out of 4 second up. And then we got to the big IM was $81. Tiger Territory was 16 or 12 to 16, and it was well back down to the bottom. J Per Princess $17 given about it, and only started at $9. As I say, it was a lot less than 108.6, which the robots would have looked at. We only gave 96 in the marketplace, and there was always a bit of pace up the front here. Mossamine led. Moonstones made was used up to go up near the lead, and the favourite, or the favourite Rosewall, was always handy. He let those 2 go and then eased in behind them, and then got to the turn and moved up 3 wide, but always racing in about 5th position, and in a great spot was in excess. And when they got turned for home, it was able to level out and get Rosewall in a sights, who had got past the 2 leaders, and it ran it down and beat it by a half a length, and it was another 4 odd lengths away to Court Connection, who came from 3rd last, making up plenty of ground. Well, that was about the meeting. It was a fairly tough school out there, whether you're bookmaking or you were punting. I hope you had a successful day. We've got only, I think, 1 meeting on somewhere in New South Wales tomorrow, and then of course we've got Oaks Day in Melbourne on Thursday, where in New South Wales we have the meeting at Hawkesbury. So we'll see you then. Good evening.